The thesis statement for today is Duke football can achieve greatness this season. Now let me go ahead and defend that. Duke football is chasing greatness. There's levels to it. Small scale greatness. It's not outlandish when you really put your thinking cap on and start, looking at it one by one. It's not outlandish that Duke wins 10 games this year. They're 7-3 right now. They've won the games they should win against teams that are below them in the ACC standings. They've lost the games that they quote-unquote should lose that are above them in the ACC standings. They have two teams below them in the ACC standings remaining on their schedule. Virginia Tech this weekend. Virginia Tech is favored, but not unbeatable by any stretch. Like I said, they've been beat a decent amount this year. Wake Forest in the last week, not a juggernaut by any stretch. If Duke wins both of those, bowl game win, always a possibility, right? We don't know who they're playing. We don't know where they're playing. We don't know how many opt-outs they have. We don't know how many opt-outs their opponent has. But it's always a possibility there. So you have Virginia Tech, Wake Forest bowl game. If you win those three, it's a 10-win season. 10 wins isn't a national championship, so it's small-scale greatness. It's not even a conference championship. But it is something that should be celebrated and acknowledged, and something that we need to convince ourselves is important. I went and did some history homework, right? This thesis statement, playing on the college metaphor here. I took college football in the triangle history 207. And I went online and looked at it, and Duke has only won 10 or more games one time in its history. Over 100 years of Duke football, they've won 10 or more games once. NC State, another team in the triangle, over 100 years of program history. They've won 10 or more games one time in their history. Once. UNC has done it 8 times in their over a century, but only one time since 2000. Like they had some in the 19 teens over a century ago that were 10 wins. So I don't know, 8, but let's count it as 6 or something like that. No, we'll count it as 8.
No, count it as 8.
So in total, in 343 combined seasons of Duke, UNC, and NC State football, they have won 10 or more games. All three of them combined in almost 3.5 centuries worth of football, they have won 10 or more games 10 times. 10 times. In 75 combined seasons for those three schools since 2000, they've won 10 or more games 3 times, once each since 2000. Duke has the possibility, they have the opportunity to do it this year. You may say their schedule stinks. Fine. You're telling me nobody in the 100-plus year history of each of these teams has had bad schedules? They have, and they haven't done it for the overwhelming majority. They have an opportunity to chase greatness. Now, this is the kind of stuff that I would not be putting in the ear of the team. They got to go 1-0 today. They got to win this week. They're only worried about one opponent. But big picture stuff, there's some goals here that can be accomplished. And then add in the Mike Elko element. Mike Elko showed up at Duke, got everybody all riled up. Look at the success he's having. Look at how he's turning the program around. Game day, show on up, night games. How awesome is this? Let's storm the field. Never won 10 games. Topped out at 9. You can look at all that, right? Remember how big a deal it was when Mike Elko left and say, yeah, you left and we got better, my guy. You left and we got more successful. Couldn't afford Riley Leonard, right? Notre Dame had all the NIL money. Glad you cashed in. As soon as you walked out this building, we became a 10-win team. That matters. Not to mention, it would be, if you're a Duke fan, just icing on the cake, cherry on top of the sundae, or with Thanksgiving coming up, gravy on top of your meal. To do that, to put up 10 wins in a season when UNC and NC State didn't live up to expectations. NC State's going to have to win to not have 5 wins, or they're going to have to win to be above 5 wins and be bowl eligible next week. They're going to beat UNC. If they don't do that, Duke could double them up. Duke can chase greatness and not on the basketball court for once. Manny Diaz building something. 10 wins. It also probably shows us that we talk about 10-win seasons too willy-nilly. Oh, this team should win, 9, 10 games? In 343 chances, Triangle teams have won 10 games 10 times.
Like, well, actually, when you think about it, not happening too often.
Let me do some quick math.
Maybe that's us. Maybe we should tame our expectations a little bit.
I think that might be it. What is that, like 3%? 2%? Something? Am I messing that up?
3 out of 75?
10 out of 343.
Yeah, something like
I think
that.
it's like 2.9.
Okay. No on-air math, but
I can't help it. I'm gonna do on-air math, and I'm probably gonna do it poorly no matter what.